For my promotion dinner, my dad handed me a formal disownment, signed by everyone. Mom declared at the table. My brother filmed my reaction for his followers. I simply nodded, collected the documents, and walked out. They had no clue what I'd already cashed in. Can you imagine being disowned by your own family? Not in a dramatic, shouting match, but with a perfectly legal, notarized letter handed to you at your own promotion dinner? And then your brother, the golden child, records your reaction for his social media followers, hoping it'll go viral? Yeah, that happened to me. And let me tell you, it wasn't the first time they tried to cash in on my life. My name is Bruce, and I'm 31. I'm a stockbroker. I deal in numbers, screens, and a calm voice, even when the market's melting down. But in my family, none of that made me the hero. That role was reserved for my younger brother, Dylan. He was born with a smile that just excused everything. Me? I was the insurance policy, the fixer, the one who understood money. Which, of course, meant I was basically an ATM if they said the right magic words. I grew up in a house where praise for Dylan was loud, and criticism for me was quiet but constant. Dad loved to say, "Dylan's got heart. Bruce has spreadsheets." My mom would just laugh, like it was a running joke. But it wasn't. It was a rule. Dylan wanted cleats? Best ones, no questions asked. I wanted a calculator for AP math. I got a lecture about not flaunting how bookish I was. So, I learned to stay small, to plan, to breathe through those endless family dinners where Dylan's stories got standing ovations, and my news got a polite, fleeting nod. By 27, I had my Series 7 license, a tiny apartment, and a habit of working through holidays because the market doesn't care about family schedules. At 29, I moved to a better team. At 30, I built my own client base from scratch. My clients stuck with me because I was there, answering their calls. My P&L, my profit and loss statement, that was the only applause I truly needed. Still, I went home. For birthdays, for Sunday roasts, for those long, slow afternoons where Dad would lecture me about real men doing real work, and then, without missing a beat, ask me to move money around for Dylan's latest, brilliant idea. I said yes, far more often than I should have. Saying no? That turned into World War II in a kitchen that always smelled like lemon cleaner and resentment. 2 months ago, it happened. I officially got promoted. Senior Vice President, Equities. Unofficially, I was the guy my boss called first when the market tanked. Out of habit, I texted the family chat. Mom replied with confetti emojis, "So proud of you, honey." Dad's response, "About time." And Dylan? A thumbs up, then a link to his new channel where he was documenting the grind and, of course, dropping merch soon. They planned a dinner. Our treat, Mom declared. "Nice place. Suit required," Dad added. I should have known the script. I should have seen the storm brewing. But I put on my good Navy suit anyway. The restaurant was fancy, white tablecloths, lighting that made everyone look expensive. The waiter even said, "Congratulations," as he poured my water. Mom dabbed at her eyes. "My big boy," she said, her voice thick. Dad cleared his throat, a sure sign a speech was coming. Dylan angled his phone, ready for that candid shot. I just practiced my LinkedIn promotion smile, grateful, humble, tired. But the first course hadn't even arrived. That's when Mom pulled a thick envelope from her purse. Cream paper, my name, in my father's familiar handwriting. "From the whole family," she said, like it was a bouquet of flowers. Dad folded his hands, watching me. Dylan lifted his phone even higher. I opened it. Disownment. It's a cold word, isn't it? Especially when it's printed on legal letterhead. Inside, it was a bullet-pointed list of conditions, of assets and assistance never rendered, phrased as if I'd stolen the very air from their lungs. A paragraph about willing severance of familial ties, signed by both my parents. Even the notary stamp looked tilted, like a bruise. "Smile, Bruce," Dylan whispered, his phone recording. "Come on, it's for my followers." The Hard Truth series. For once, I didn't perform. I just nodded. I folded the papers back into the envelope, tucked it into my jacket, stood up, and quietly set my napkin down. Mom's voice followed me. "Bruce, don't be dramatic." Dad's was flatter, colder. "Just take it, Bruce." Dylan, of course, kept recording. A couple at the next table pretended not to watch. The waiter froze with a tray of bread, like a statue in a play. I just walked out. On the sidewalk, the air was cold enough to sting, but I wasn't shaking. I wasn't even surprised. The real surprise had happened weeks earlier, in a quiet office at 8:12 p.m., with a phone call I'll never forget. That's when I finally realized how much of me they'd already spent. That's when I started making a list of what mattered and what could truly be sold. And no, I wasn't talking about stocks. The thing about being the responsible one is that people mistake reliability for infinite capacity. When you don't flinch, they just pile more on. When you don't complain, they assume you're fine. That's how I ended up covering Dylan's overdraft at 22, his bridge loan at 24, his emergency rent at 26, and his one-time-only business pivot at 28. The amount started in the hundreds and ballooned into 5 figures. No big deal to you, Bruce, Dad would say every time. Family helps family. Mom would add, just until he's on his feet. As if Dylan had ever stood without leaning on someone. I kept spreadsheets. Because that's who I am. Columns for dates, amounts, stated reasons, actual reasons. I didn't add interest. I never asked for repayments. I kept the file in a folder named Tax Documents, so I wouldn't have to explain it to anyone. At 30, Dylan decided to go all in on content. Podcasts, vlogs, live streams about hustle culture, all recorded from Dad's leather chair. He called himself a founder. The thing he founded, mostly, was a gaping hole in the family budget. His views were low, then high, then low again. He eventually asked me to sponsor an episode. Be a cool big bro, he'd messaged. Win-win. I told him no. He texted back. Money makes you cruel. 2 minutes later, Mom called. Bruce, he's sensitive. Then Dad sent me a video of Dylan at a ring light, saying, Bro, people don't get it. The caption? People who invest in you are the only ones who matter. I just muted all notifications, stared at my ceiling, and thought about how easy it is to confuse attention with actual respect. Work, ironically, was simple by comparison. The market is rude, yes, but it's honest. It punishes fairy tales and rewards discipline. When I got tapped for SVP, it wasn't because anyone particularly liked me. It was because my calls were right more often than not, and because I knew when to cut a loss. My boss shook my hand and said, Dry eyes, Fisk. Now build. That night, Mom called at 10:41 p.m. Your father and I are so happy. We knew you had it in you. Then a pause, a pregnant, familiar pause. I closed my eyes. It's just Dylan's car, she finally said. The bank is being so unforgiving. If we could just move some things around. Mom, no. Silence on the line. Then her voice turned buttery smooth, chillingly familiar. Don't let this position make you arrogant, Bruce. I'd heard versions of that sentence my entire life. It worked like a dog whistle. Translation, do what we want, and do it with a smile. I said, I've been arrogant exactly 0 times, Mom. I've been a wallet. Wow, she said. To your own mother. Dad called an hour later. His voice was smooth, rehearsed. Son, Dylan needs $18,400 to stop a repo. We'll pay you back. In time. Don't be petty about family. Stop using that word, I said. Petty means I'm asking small. I'm asking you to treat me like a person. Don't raise your voice. I'm not. My phone felt like it was shrinking my apartment. I'm telling you, I can't do this anymore. Dad exhaled a long, disgusted sound. You think that title makes you a king? I hung up before I said the thing I really wanted to say. A king is allowed to say no. A son in our family isn't allowed to say anything. The next day, Dylan posted a story. Some people only help when it benefits them. He added a song about snakes. He tagged no one and everyone. Then came the second call, the real turning point. The one at 8:12 p.m. from an unknown number. A pleasant voice. It was a loan officer. Mr. Fisk, you're a listed reference on an application. We just need to verify a few details regarding your brother's income and your willingness to guarantee. I stared at my blinds. I didn't consent to be a guarantor. We have a signed document here with your name on it. Send it. She did. I printed it out and sat with the page spread on my desk. My signature, traced from somewhere. The numbers were ugly. It wasn't a car loan. It was a consolidation. Credit cards Dylan had described as small, now rolled into a massive boulder. He'd faked my permission. He'd used me, not just as a wallet, but as a shield. I took the stairs down to the street and walked until the cold cut through the noise in my head. People talk about betrayal like it's dramatic, all caps, fireworks. It's not. It's smaller than that. It's a simple math problem suddenly turning into a lie. It's realizing your name is a tool other people think they own. I didn't call anyone that night. I made tea I didn't drink. I opened that old spreadsheet. And I added a new row. Unauthorized guarantee attempt. Amount, $62,900. Reason, because he could. The next morning, I told my firm's legal department about the forged signature because ethics are a thing when your job is moving other people's money. Then I sent Dylan a text. Remove my name from anything. Now, he replied with a shrug emoji. Big bro, relax. I didn't relax. I got quiet. Quiet is where I do my best thinking. Meanwhile, the family campaign ramped up. Mom's messages got syrupy. We miss you. Dad's got moral. Don't abandon your blood. Dylan's got cinematic. I'll pay you back when the brand pops off. You'll be sorry you doubted me. I muted all three. 3 days later, Mom announced the promotion dinner again. A family celebration, she called it. Make time. I tried to say I had work. She repeated, make time. So when that envelope appeared at the restaurant, it wasn't random. It was pressure, dressed up as paperwork. They had turned me into a plot twist for my brother's channel. A villain. A lesson about how money corrupts. I walked out with the letter in my jacket and a list in my head that was getting very, very short. I didn't sleep the night after the restaurant. Not from rage, but from a profound clarity. The next morning, I was at my desk by 6:50 a.m., screens lighting up one by one. My team drifted in, the floor hummed. I pressed the envelope flat on my desk and read every line again. The tone was legal, yes, but utterly childish. One section detailed property acquired during dependence. Another declared me emotionally negligent. It was theater, complete with a notary stamp. At 9:03 a.m., Dylan's video went live. The title? When Success Splits a Family. He'd cut my exit from the restaurant into slow motion. He layered a maudlin piano track. He even cried on cue. The comments rolled in. Bro, you didn't deserve that. He changed. Money makes people cold. I just turned the volume down and did my job. Bought what needed buying. Sold what needed selling. Kept 3 anxious clients from doing something dumb. When the bell closed, I shut my laptop and picked up my phone. Mom's text. Bruce, we shouldn't have surprised you with the letter. Come to Sunday dinner, we'll talk it out. Dad's text. Being offended doesn't change facts. You owe Dylan. We can fix this on camera. Narrative control. That last one made me laugh out loud in an empty conference room. On camera. Narrative control. I saw it so clearly now. They didn't want me back. They wanted footage. I texted back. No. Dylan sent 12 messages in a row, escalating from pseudo-wise, pride is expensive, bro, to threatening, don't cry later. I put my phone face down. I thought about being 16 and fixing Dad's ancient spreadsheet while he told me how men provide. I thought about Mom's voice the day I got into college. Good, but don't start acting like you're better. I thought about Dylan at 19, saying, cover me this one time. We were 12 one times past that. Saturday came. I cleaned my apartment. Took a long run. Showered. And then I sat on the floor with a stack of files. Not the investment kind. The real kind. My birth certificate. Old tax returns. That spreadsheet. Printed out. Staples stabbing the corner. The disownment letter on top. I added a yellow sticky note. You wanted legal? Okay. I drove to my parents' neighborhood Sunday afternoon. I didn't park in the driveway. I parked down the block and walked. Hands in my pockets. The way you walk into a storm you've already decided to stand through. I rang the bell. I could hear chatter inside, then footsteps. Mom opened the door with her nice, company smile. It dropped the moment she saw I was alone. No girlfriend? She said, like a joke. No entourage. Dad called from the kitchen. If you're here to apologize, be quick. We're eating. Dylan swung around the hallway corner, phone in hand, thumb poised. We go live in 5, he announced. No, I said. We don't. Mom spread her arms as if we were embracing. This can be fixed with a conversation, Bruce. Great, I said. I held up the envelope. Let's have one. We sat in the living room. The house smelled like roast and furniture polish. On the mantel, there was Dylan's plaque from a high school award night, and none of my anything. That used to feel like a dare. Now it felt like proof. Mom motioned to the couch beside her. We did what we did out of love, Bruce. That letter isn't love, I said. It's leverage. Dad leaned forward, elbows on his knees, the way he always did when he was about to deliver a sermon. You have resources, Bruce. Your brother needs support. You've forgotten where you came from. Dylan, of course, was raising his phone again. Let's start with accountability, Bruce, he said. I put his phone down with 2 fingers. No cameras. Why are you afraid of the truth? He snapped. I'm not. I looked at each of them, one at a time. I'm done paying for lies. Dad's jaw tensed. We gave you everything. You gave me a roof and lessons on being small. I said, my voice quiet, even. I gave you money. Here are the numbers. I slid the printed spreadsheet across the coffee table. Rows and rows. Dates. Amounts. Reasons. The golden child, illuminated by fluorescent debt. Mom didn't touch it. This is tacky. It's accurate. Dylan snorted. You keep receipts on your own family? That's extreme. You forged my signature? I said. The room went still. You could hear the clock ticking. What? Mom said, too fast. The consolidation loan. I set down the printout from the bank. My signature on your form. It isn't mine. Legal at my firm has the original. They also have the statement from the restaurant, just in case you try to edit the story later. Dad stood up. You watch your mouth, young man. No, I said. My voice surprised me with how even it was. This is me watching my boundary. I folded the disownment letter open and put it on top of the stack of papers. You wanted to cut me off. Let's make it mutual. Mom's eyes went shiny with anger. Don't do this, Bruce. It's already done. I looked at Dylan. You can't use my name. Not for credit. Not for clout. Not for narrative. Take down the video. He scoffed. Make me. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. The sentence felt like a lock clicking into place. You want to know the real reason I walked out of that restaurant without shouting? Because the decision was older than that envelope. Because I'd already sold something you thought you owned. They just stared. Dylan, trying to guess. What? Your shares in indecency. I stood up. My obligation to fix you. I didn't slam the door. I didn't do anything dramatic. I left the same way I'd lived in that house, quietly, on my own 2 feet. By the time I got back to my apartment, my phone had mutated into a siren. 42 missed calls. 61 texts. A voice message from Mom that started with tears and ended with insults. 2 from Dad, both versions of, you're making this bigger than it is. 10 from Dylan, a highlight reel of manipulation. You ruined Sunday. You're jealous. I'm posting everything. Lawyer says you don't have a case. You'll be back. I just put the phone in a drawer and made pasta like a normal person. I ate standing up in my kitchen, listening to the radiator click. I slept the best I had in months. Monday morning, HR emailed me. Someone had called, a family member, attempting to report me for insider trading. But the compliance team already knew, because I'd briefed them the week of the forged signature. The report was dismissed in 11 minutes. If you want to understand how angry people behave when you stop feeding them, there's your case study. They try to set your house on fire with rumors, and then act surprised when the sprinklers work. Dylan's video doubled in views, then tripled. The comments got uglier. I didn't read them. I just blocked and went for a run. Halfway through mile 2, I realized I was smiling. Not because any of this was fun, but because I had finally done the thing my job trained me to do. Cut a loss early enough that it doesn't eat your future. 3 days later, another letter arrived. This time, from my lawyer to theirs. It was short. It said the forged signature had been reported. It said any use of my name in financial instruments without my consent would be pursued. It said the defamatory content in the video was being documented. It didn't roar. It didn't threaten. It was calm, which is worse if you're the kind of person who thinks noise equals power. Mom texted. How could you sick lawyers on your own mother? I wrote back. I didn't. I defended myself. Dad called from a blocked number. You think money protects you? No, I said. Boundaries do. He hung up. Here's the part one didn't expect. The emptiness where the daily drama used to be. It felt like when the market closes and the screens go dark. At first, your hands keep twitching, waiting for another alert. Then your shoulders drop. Then you realize silence isn't nothing. It's space. I filled it with small things. New towels. A citrus plant that would probably die under my care, and then didn't. I started sitting in a cafe before work, not looking at a screen for 20 minutes. I called clients back at reasonable hours. I didn't apologize for not being a 24/7 machine. My boss even said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. On Friday, the firm announced my promotion publicly. LinkedIn did its thing. The likes, the well-deserved. The acquaintances asking to pick my brain. Then came a DM from a name I hadn't seen since college. Claire. She dated Dylan for 2 years, pre-content. Her message was 3 lines. He's been using your name to threaten vendors. My brother on Wall Street will ruin you. I'm sorry. I thought you should know. I wrote back, thank you. Then, you don't owe me for his choices. Saturday morning, my doorman handed me a thick envelope. Same cream paper. No return address. Inside, a second letter from my parents' lawyer, bizarrely cheerful, withdrawing the disownment. After reflection, it read, the family would like to rescind prior statements. It read like a press release written by people who learned empathy from TV. There were 2 handwritten notes tucked in. Moms, we were emotional. Come Sunday, I'll make lamb. Dads, enough theatrics. Shake hands and move on. I stared at the page and felt nothing but the steady clock of my own pulse. I put the letter with the first one in a clear folder labeled Family Documents and filed it next to my lease. Dylan's channel went quiet for a week. Then he posted a new video. Accountability update. He didn't name me. He talked about toxic family structures and breaking cycles. He turned off comments. He posted a photo of a new mic. He started a Patreon. He messaged me. We cool? No, I wrote back. We're done. He called immediately. Don't do this. We can benefit each other. How about you come on my pod? Talk about finance. People love brothers with different vibes. Dylan, I said, and the sadness in my voice surprised even me. You can't see me unless I'm useful. Silence. Then that small voice he used to use when he was 8. Try not to cry after Dad yelled. So never. I hope you figure yourself out, I said. But I'm not your ladder. Click. Weeks passed. The texts slowed. The calls dropped to 0. What stayed were the habits I was building without them. I cooked the same breakfast every day. I went to bed before midnight. I stopped proving I was useful to people who only used me. That freed up more time than I expected. In that extra time, I finally sold what needed selling. You thought it was my stocks, didn't you? It wasn't. I kept those. What I sold was the narrative, quietly, cleanly, to myself. I took the version of me that my family wrote, the one where I'm the resource, the background, the sure thing, and I cashed it out. I replaced it with a new line item, person. I put it in my internal portfolio, labeled non-negotiables. Around then, my Aunt Ruth called. The one relative who never asked for $1 and always brought actual, delicious food to holidays. Haven't heard your voice, she said. You okay? I'm lighter, I said. Good, she replied. Remember, a no is a full sentence. Did Mom send you? I sent myself, she said. Also, please eat something besides eggs and coffee. We laughed. I hung up and cooked actual vegetables, because Aunt Ruth is the only person I'll take orders from. Not everything was neat. A cousin DM'd me to say Dad had been complaining at a barbecue that I'd turned snobby. A neighbor told me Mom cried in the grocery store about how Bruce abandoned us in our time of need. I didn't chase those fires. I let people believe whatever made sense to them. I'd wasted too much time managing perceptions. It's exhausting work, pretending to be someone's villain so they can feel like a hero. On a Tuesday, I got an email from my firm's pro bono arm about a finance literacy workshop at a community center. I said yes. Saturday morning, I stood in a room with 20 people who wanted to understand budgets and credit reports. I drew boxes on a whiteboard. I said sentences I needed to hear at 18. Your budget is your boundary. If they don't respect it, they don't respect you. Someone in the back raised a hand. What if they is your mom? Especially then, I said, and the room laughed. The kind of laugh that means we're all tired of the same thing. On my way out, a guy my age stopped me. You talk like someone who survived family drama. I did, I said. Any tips? Start small, I told him. Track the asks. Say one no. Tell yourself it's allowed to feel awful, and keep going. He nodded like he'd been waiting for permission his whole life. I thought of Dylan, staring at a ring light. Of Dad at the kitchen table, arms folded. Of Mom, holding a letter like a gift. It hit me, how much of my life had been arranged around not making other people uncomfortable. I walked home in the thin winter sun, bought oranges on the corner, and didn't check my phone for 2 hours. The last message I got from my mother was short. Sunday dinner at 5. Your seat is always here. It used to be a hook. This time, it was just a sentence on a screen. I typed, no, thank you. I didn't explain. Explanations are just invitations to argue. Dad never wrote again. Dylan posted a video about rebirth, then pivoted to reviewing gadgets. I stopped checking. People kept telling me updates, like it was news I needed. I didn't. My life moved forward in the small ways that truly matter. I lifted more than I scrolled. I saved for things I actually wanted. I started sleeping on clean sheets because I washed them on Thursdays, not when I felt guilty. When I think about that restaurant now, the envelope, the camera, the entire performance, I don't feel the heat I felt that night. I feel the cool air on my face outside the door and a strange gratitude that they said the quiet part out loud. It made my decision honest. If there's a moral, it's not dramatic. It's boring, which is how you know it's true. Here it is. People who love you don't make you a ledger. People who love you don't require you to bleed to prove your loyalty. And if they do, you're allowed to close the account. My name is Bruce. I'm 31. I'm a stockbroker. And I am no one's emergency exit. I don't owe anyone my ruin. I won't participate in my own extraction. I won't be filmed while I'm being drained. I'm not seeking revenge. I don't need apology speeches or tearful reunions over overcooked lamb. I needed closure, and I gave it to myself. I drew a line, and I stood on my side of it. I won't let anyone spin me without consent again. I won't let them rename my no as cruelty. I won't let guilt dress up as love and move into my life rent-free. I'm building something quieter than a viral clip and sturdier than a notarized demand. It looks like a Tuesday where I go to work, come home, text Aunt Ruth a photo of the citrus tree, answer a client's question without panic, and fall asleep before midnight. It looks like a life that finally belongs to me. So, tell me, have you ever had to draw a really difficult line to protect yourself? Or what would you have done if your family handed you a disownment letter at your celebration dinner? I really want to know what you think.